finding ethical products can sometimes be confusing and overwhelming, which is why today I want to share with you which chocolate is actually the most ethical. Hi, I'm Christina, and this is Minimal Impact 22. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you which chocolate is the most ethical based off of 3 criteria: the price, how it tastes, and is the company really ethical? But before we get into that, please make sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing. Before each chocolate that I will taste test, there will be a fact sheet that will appear on the screen explaining a few things like the price, what type of fair trade certification each bar has, and some other details. It's important to note that all of the chocolate I'll be trying today claims to be fair trade. And to better understand fair trade, I'm going to give a quick explanation now. When something is fair trade, it means that that product helps workers earn a sustainable livelihood in a safe workplace that also takes into account the local community and the environment. On foods, there are 3 different types of fair trade marks. The first indicates that the product is fairly traded and fully traceable. The second shows that all ingredients that are available under fair trade conditions have to be fair trade. And the third suggests that only some ingredients are fair trade. Now it's time to taste test the chocolate. I'll be scoring the chocolate on how tasty it is from a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the most tasty. This is the Theo Organic Sea Salt 70% dark chocolate. I have had this chocolate before. I really like the sweet and the salty flavors being combined. However, I do think that it might be just a tad bit salty for me if I'm just trying to enjoy some chocolate. So I think it's a good chocolate and it's still tasty, but I think there could be a little bit of room for improvement. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 points. This is the Theo Salted Almond 70% dark chocolate. And again, this is also a chocolate that I have tasted before and I do like it. But let's give it a try. Compared to the Sea Salt Theo chocolate bar, I like this one a little bit better. The salt is a little more muted, but you still have some contrasting flavors. But I still feel like there's a little bit more to be desired. So again, I'm gonna give this bar a 4 out of 5. This is the Chauo Honeycomb Chocolate Bar. And first of all, before I take a taste, I just wanted to say this is super cute because it says chew, wow, giggle, sweet, desire, and then there's a longer chocolate square down here too. So let's go ahead, take a taste. This chocolate is a little bit sweeter. It is 60% dark chocolate. And the honey, while there are bits of honey in here, doesn't really add to the flavor. So it's not like you're tasting the honey, but I think it might add to the sweetness a little bit. So overall, it is good. It is on the sweeter side, but I love having just the little bits that are a little bit crispy in the chocolate itself. So I'm really tempted to give this chocolate bar 5, but it might be a little bit too sweet for me. So I'm gonna give it 4. This is the Who Salty 70% dark chocolate bar. Ooh, thick squares chocolate. Now that's really good chocolate. I'm giving this a 5. Sorry, but it has the perfect amount of dark, bitter chocolate mixed with the salt, and it's just a perfect flavor combination, and I am in love. 5 out of 5, 100%. This is the Taza 85% dark chocolate. I'm not sure how to, okay, that didn't really break along the lines. There we go. Okay, this is really interesting and different. Now, on the package, it says it's stone ground chocolate. And here's what I'll say, it has a very textured consistency. There's little bits in there that are kind of a little bit crunchy or almost maybe a little bit sandy, even though it doesn't taste like sand. It's just that texture. And even though it is 85% dark chocolate, I would say it's not over powerfully dark. You know, this is not my favorite. For being super dark at 85%, not too bad. Normally I prefer 70, but something about this, it just isn't sitting right with me. And so I'm gonna have to give it 3 points. I'm not sure if it's the texture or the taste. There's kind of a weird aftertaste going on. The initial taste isn't bad, but the aftertaste is not it. This is the Lily's 70% dark chocolate. Okay, so this chocolate has a slightly strange flavor. At least the initial square I had a strange flavor. I looked at the package. Hold on. Okay, I looked at the package and this bar is sweetened with stevia. I'm not sure if that's what's giving it this slightly strange taste, but I am not a fan of this. The second bite was better than the first bite, so maybe you can get used to eating this, but I wouldn't pick this at the store. This is probably a 2. It's a 2 out of 5. This is the Alter Eco 70% dark chocolate burnt caramel. All right. That's good chocolate. It has pieces of the burnt caramel in there and it gives it a little bit of a crunch. It also helps sweeten the chocolate bar just a little bit, but not too sweet. So I would say this is a total win. I would definitely buy this again. I don't feel like it was missing anything. So I'm gonna give it a 5. It's 5 out of 5. Score. This is the Green and Black 70% dark chocolate. I like it. It's a nice plain chocolate, but it kind of melts in your mouth. There's no weird textures or weird tastes going on. So I would say this is a good, solid chocolate bar. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. It's good. This is the Naoh's espresso chocolate. I'm a little concerned because the packaging doesn't say how dark the chocolate is. It could be a milk chocolate with espresso, I guess, but kind of assumed it wouldn't be. There's like flakes of espresso. I'm not gonna sleep tonight. Oh no. Why did I do this on a Sunday night? This is probably one of the worst nights to do it. Okay, whatever. Cheers. I like espresso beans in chocolate. So I don't think that the taste is bad. I think the taste is fine. However, I will say that this chocolate was not melting in the mouth. It felt like I really had to chew it a lot to kind of break it apart. And it's just a really, really hard chocolate. So I think I'm gonna have to dock it at least 1 point for that. I don't know. I think this one's a 3. It just wasn't wowing me. It's a 3. Okay, so it is 2 weeks after I taste tested the chocolate, and that should allow adequate amount of time for the companies I reached out to respond back to me. And you'll see why that's important here in just a minute. We are going to talk about how ethical these chocolate brands really are based off of 3 criteria. The first criteria is, how is the chocolate bar packaged? Is it packaged in plastic? Is it packaged in recyclable material? Or is it packaged in biodegradable material? The second criteria is, where was the product made? If the product was made in the United States, theoretically, this should eliminate some of the waste because it cuts out an extra shipping step. And the third criteria is looking at how ethical are the ethical practices that these companies have. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. If you want to see how these chocolate companies ranked in terms of where the product was made and how the product was packaged, make sure to check the link below for all information on how I scored the chocolate. The first brand we're going to talk about is Taza, which claims to be direct trade and has its own company certification. Whenever a company has its own certification, it's really important to look and see if it's a certification that can be backed up with documentation. And in Taza's case, it was. They actually did have a transparency report, and after reading through it, it appears that all of their farmers and employees, both abroad and here in the United States, make at least minimum wage. And it also looks like currently all of their employees are also making a living wage based on some calculations I did. Theo and Alter Eco both had abbreviated transparency reports available to consumers on their website. And while these transparency reports weren't very in-depth, they did allow consumers to gain more information and hopefully answer basic questions about the company's sustainability and fair trade practices. Green and Black was not very transparent. They did not have a transparency report on their website. And after doing some farther digging, I realized that they're owned by the corporation Mondelez International, which owns brands like Cadbury, Wheat Thins, and Oreo. According to Mondelez's 2020 annual report, the company admits to not always being ethical. Quote, "We must address changes in and that affect our workforce and satisfy the legal requirements associated with how we manage and compensate our employees." But it's hard to say if that applies to Green and Black, which is just a part of Mondelez International. Looking at Green and Black alone, they were involved in a controversy back in 2017 regarding some of their fair trade practices. So that's just something to consider looking at their parent company and them. They have a history of maybe not being the best in terms of ethical and sustainable practices. Lily's did not have a transparency or sustainability report available on their website. I did reach out to Lily's and they did respond. Here's what they said. "All our chocolate is certified fair trade." So while they did respond, they didn't really add anything or answer the initial question that I asked them, which was to see a report. Similarly, Chauo also did not have either a transparency or a sustainability report available on their website. I did reach out to them and they did not get back to me. Who is owned by, guess who? You got it, Mondelez International. The same company that we're not sure how ethical they really are. And unfortunately for who, there isn't any information on their website regarding their practices. And again, the company did not respond to my inquiry. However, probably the worst in terms of sustainability and fair trade transparency was the local chocolate I bought, Naoh's. The company claims to be fair trade, but doesn't have a certification, nor are there any reports on their website. I also reached out to the company and they did not respond. It is possible that Naoh's is fair trade, but hasn't received a fair trade certification due to financial challenges. It is a smaller company, unlike some of the other brands we've looked at, and getting a fair trade certification does cost money. However, I can't verify this information, so I did have to give it a lower score in the ethical category. As a consumer, something I'm always looking at is the price of a product. Even if a product looks really great, seems to be very ethical and sustainable, it may be out of my price range. So I did want to talk about the prices of the chocolates that I tasted. Please keep in mind that the prices I'm using are for the price point that I can find at my local grocery store. It may differ for you based on your location. The way that I calculated who had the best price for the chocolate bar was not by the price of the bar, but rather the price per ounce. Coming in first place was Theo chocolate, which was 93 cents an ounce. Green and Black came in second place with $1 per ounce. Alter Eco was right behind with $1.02, followed by Lily's at $1.24. Taza chocolate was $1.48 per ounce. Chauo was $1.74. Second to last was Who at $1.90. And in last place was the local chocolate, Naoh's, coming in at $2.38 per ounce. Again, to see how the prices impact the scoring for this specific video, please make sure to check the document down below. Based on the criteria I just covered, which was ethical practices, taste, and price, we have our winners. and our losers. So I am going to tell you who came in last place and then finish with who came in first. There were 15 total available points for each of these companies, and coming in last place with only 6 points was the local chocolate, Naoh's. In second place, which is no surprise to me based on its taste, was Lily's, coming in with 9 points. Coming into 7th place were 2 chocolates, Taza and Who, both with 10 points. Coming in with half a point more was Chauo with 10.5 points. With 11 points was Alter Eco. As much as it hurts me to say this, coming in with 12 points and in second place was Green and Black. And in first place were both Theo chocolate bars with 13 points each. Next time I go to the grocery store, I'm definitely going to keep all of this information in mind. The price, how ethical it is, and how sustainable the packaging is. However, in full transparency, I'm going to do a little bit of overriding and let you know which chocolate bar I've been reaching for the most over the past 2 weeks. It has definitely been the Chauo bar. It is so good, so tasty, and I would definitely buy it again. In fact, I'm planning on purchasing from them in the future as gifts for others individuals. A close second, which I've also been enjoying a lot over the past couple weeks, was Alter Eco. I love the play with the sweet and the salty, and I find myself reaching for it over and over again. And of course, I do love Theo chocolate. It's a chocolate that I have been eating for the past few months, and while I haven't been reaching for it for the past couple weeks just because I have other options, that doesn't mean I wouldn't pick it again in the very near future. Thank you all for joining me in today's video. I hope this video has helped you become a more informed consumer so that you can make more informed decisions in the future regarding ethical chocolate. If there are any ethical chocolates that you want me to taste test in the future and do a similar video, please let me know down below in the comments. I'm always down to try more chocolate, and I always want to share what I have found with more individuals. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. It's good.